I'm going to tell you how to increase your credit score and use it to earn passive income, and I'm not talking about credit card rewards. And we're starting right now. What's up, you guys? My name's Jeremy Verbit, and today we're going to talk about credit card scores, including how they are calculated, how you can improve yours, how to cycle credit cards to never pay interest, what some of the best reward cards are out there, and lastly, but most importantly, how to use your credit score to earn passive income in what has been called the $1,000 per hour side hustle. Having good credit can save you hundreds of thousands of dollars between interest rates on mortgages and car loans, and can even determine where you qualify to rent an apartment. So first, how are credit scores calculated? There are two models used to calculate credit scores. FICO scores that were developed by the Fair Isaac Corporation, and VantageScore scores that were developed by Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. They are similar, and FICO scores are used by 90% of lenders, so we'll focus on FICO. 5 factors play a role in calculating your FICO score. Payment history, which makes up 35% of your FICO score. Credit card utilization, which makes up 30%. Length of credit history, which makes up 15%. Amount of new credit, which makes up 10%, and credit mix, which makes up the remaining 10%. Your FICO score will range from 300 to 850, and the higher the score, the less risky you are to lenders for making payments on time and not defaulting on your debt. A credit score of 579 and below is considered poor, 580 to 669 is fair, 670 to 739 is good, 740 to 799 is very good, and 800 to 850 is excellent. You can go to creditkarma.com and see your credit score at any time for free, and it'll tell you how you're doing in each of these 5 factors. As you can see, my credit score is around 820. My payment history and credit card utilization are excellent. My credit age and hard inquiries could be improved, but they're low impact and are what I use to earn income for my credit score, but more to come on that later. So second, how you can improve your credit score. The most impactful way to improve your score is to automate your credit card payments with at least the minimum monthly payment to ensure you never miss a payment. If you are late on a payment, most credit card companies won't report this to the credit bureaus until you're at least 30 days late. So you still have 30 days after missing a payment to make your payment before it has any impact on your credit score. The next best way to improve your score is to have a lot more credit available to you than you actually use in debt. You should aim to have less than 30% of your available credit, or credit limit, in use, and ideally less than 10%. This applies not only to your available credit across all cards, but also to each card individually. This means it's actually a good idea to apply for more credit cards, because doing so will increase your available credit and lower your credit utilization. You can also call your credit card company and simply request a credit limit increase. Another way to improve your credit utilization is to have someone add you as an authorized user to a card with a low credit utilization. This will make that credit line show up in your credit report even if you don't have a copy of the credit card to actually charge against it. And this is exactly how you can make money from your credit score. But I promise, hear me out, we'll be covering that later in the video. Since length of credit history improves your credit score, you should never cancel a card unless it has a yearly fee the company won't waive. Trying to limit your credit checks to soft inquiries, like what happens when you access Credit Karma, and not hard inquiries helps, but honestly, they impact your credit so little, and they even treat multiple hard inquiries made within 45 days as a single inquiry so that shopping around for good credit offers doesn't hurt your score. It helps to try to include at least one credit line from as many different account types as possible. This includes auto loans, student loans, furniture loans, mortgages, bank credit cards, retail credit cards, and gas station credit cards. Note that debit cards don't impact your credit score. When I got my first retail credit card at Kohl's Credit Card, I saw my score jump up around 30 points just because it was a different account type from my other cards. Now, if you have credit card debt, you're likely looking to dig yourself out. And the interest they're throwing on top while you're digging yourself out isn't helping. If your score is reasonable, you can probably qualify for a card with a 0% interest on purchases for 12 to 21 months with a 0% balance transfer fee like the Chase Slate card. With a card like this, you can transfer your balance from your high interest card to the 0% interest card absolutely free. If you don't qualify for a card with a 0% balance transfer fee, there are lots of cards that offer introductory 12 to 24 month 0% interest on purchases that you can also use. Just charge purchases to the 0% card and only pay the minimum monthly payment on that card, while using your income to pay down the interest card quickly. You can keep doing this over several cards and pay close to 0% interest on your debt for nearly a decade, all while earning some credit card rewards in the process. To find these cards, I recommend going to NerdWallet's balance transfer page, where you can find over 7 other cards that have 0% balance transfer fees, each for roughly a year and a half. Once you've paid off debt and are just looking for credit cards with the highest rewards, I'm a big fan of the Discover It card, which effectively gives you 10% cash back on rotating categories and 2% back on everything else in your first year. Also, the Citi Double Cash and Fidelity Rewards cards, which earn you 2% cash back on everything forever. The Blue Cash Preferred card, earning you 6% cash back on groceries. The Capital One Saver card, offering 4% cash back on dining. And the Capital One Venture Rewards card, offering 2% cash back on travel with large sign-up bonuses. Now, what you've been waiting for. How can your credit score earn you $1,000 per hour? Remember what I said about how you can improve your credit score by having someone add you as an authorized user on their card? Well, people looking to quickly improve their credit score are willing to pay $100 to $750 to be added to your card. The amount they'll pay depends on the credit limit of the card. Since the higher the credit limit, the lower their credit utilization will look when it hits their credit score. It also depends on the age of the card, because the older the credit card, the older their average credit history will look. Selling a spot as an authorized user on cards is known as selling trade lines or piggybacking. A trade line is just a line of credit. But how do you find someone willing to buy your trade lines? There are trade line brokers who set up platforms designed to connect trade line buyers to sellers. These brokers typically take around half the trade line sale, leaving you $50 to $300 in profit for selling your trade line. That said, these brokers do the work of marketing to buyers, vetting the buyer to make sure they are legitimate and have submitted payment, and handle any complaints or refund requests they have. As a seller, my only responsibility is when the broker sells one of my trade lines, I need to reach out to the credit card company over their website or a phone call and add the buyer as an authorized user to the card associated with my trade line. This usually takes less than 2 minutes to do. I then wait for the broker to tell me when the trade line has posted to the buyer's credit report, and then I remove the user from my credit card, which frees up a spot for the next buyer to be added. I know this sounds fishy, but it's real and completely legal. I even get a W-2 from my broker to report my income selling trade lines to the IRS, and they tax it. But what are the risks? Could the authorized user start charging against your credit card? Nope, the authorized user never receives the card. It's credit card company policy to always by default send cards to the account owner's address and not to the authorized user. Could it lower your credit score? Nope, adding the authorized user only puts the trade line on their credit report. And it doesn't add any bad credit history to your credit report. The only inconvenience is that debt collectors can see you as associated with the authorized user on their credit report, so collectors may start calling or mailing you. When you receive these calls, if you mention you don't know the person they're trying to collect from, they'll stop calling you. Also, while brokers tend to manage this risk for you, it is possible a credit card company might not like the extent to which you rotate authorized users on the card and choose to shut down the cards you sell trade lines for. You also need to keep the credit utilization on cards you sell trade lines on to below 10%. Therefore, I recommend you only sell trade lines for cards you don't use or need. If you regularly get new credit cards, milk their sign-up bonus, let them age, then offer them up to trade line brokers, you can make a lot of passive income. While most trade line sellers make in the low single-digit thousands of dollars passively each year, those with lots of well-aged trade lines are making up to $20,000 per year almost completely passively. I personally earned $3,475 across 6 credit cards doing this in 2020, and even wrote off $1,425 of that off taxes because I sold and managed those trade lines from my home office. But ultimately, I couldn't have spent more than 2 hours in total throughout the entire year talking to my trade line broker, adding authorized users online, or waiting on hold with my credit card company to add authorized users over the phone. All said and done, this side gig has earned me an additional $1,737 an hour, and once I do retire, while I won't count on it for necessary income, it could generate enough to cover a lavish yearly vacation in retirement. While trade lines have been sold for decades, it's possible the credit industry will change in the future such that this practice won't be continued. For example, President Biden is discussing publicizing the credit industry to make it fairer to those with less access to credit and take into account records like utility and rent payments. I'm actually in favor of that, but I want to make it clear this income isn't something you should rely on and instead should be treated as an easy way to earn a little extra pocket change. Or better yet, invested savings. That's all for today. Love you guys. See you next time. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to see my next video, and comment down below about what you think, and I'll be sure to respond. You should never cancel a card unless it has a yearly fee the company won't waive. That's right, I bet the company won't waive unless it has a yearly fee.
That's a perfect use for the new light.